Hi, let's talk about Caustic Arrow Poison Trickster. It's currently the most popular Trickster build that uses the freshly introduced powerful keystones combined with some upgraded unique items. It's based on hit damage caused by caustic arrows. The multiple projectiles AoE hit damage can overlap, which is great for stacking poison damage. The Trickster's new Swift Killer keystone synergizes very well with Snakebite gloves and Frenzy charges, magnifying its poison damage. The Covenant body armor has been significantly upgraded, granting now an extra high-level 7th support gem. The last piece of the puzzle is the Darkscorn bow. Trickster's new polymath grants more damage and a lot of mana, life, ES on kill per allocated different mastery, and you will be able to have a lot of them in this build, 8, 9, or even more. Swift Killer grants 2 extra frenzy charges, later upgraded by the unique pair of gloves. The attacks will be boosted by Withered debuff without any extra setup but simply the anomalous caustic arrow, and you won't need to convert your physical damage to chaos. Poison damage can be applied via physical damage as well as chaos damage hits. The build uses poison as the main damage source, not the damage over time that the puddle causes after the arrow lands, but the initial hit that causes it to appear. The hit damage of this area damage can overlap, but the one of caustic ground does not. It's similar to poisonous concoction in that sense. The defenses are great due to the new Heartstopper and one step ahead keystones. It uses maximum life as its base defensive resource, but it's very easy to gain some extra ES, fully charged most of the time. The build is also abundant in evasion rating, there's a lot of it available for such build. Clear speed is good. Enemies die with just a single bow or ballista shot. Single target damage is excellent, it's able to inflict an absurd number of poison stacks. All but one item are all very cheap, it doesn't require much of any specific modifiers on rares. There are 3 important unique gear pieces and 1 jewel. Snakebite gloves and Darkscorn bow should be very cheap, even early on in the league. Rain of Splinter jewel grants more DPS, and the Covenant body armor is currently one of the most expensive body armors, but it can be replaced with a cheaper, rare one. Despite all that, we would recommend it as a league starter. It's simple and efficient when compared to other Trickster builds. Darkscorn is the best in slot unique bow for a poison attack build with base physical damage such as this one. It increases attack speed, accuracy, and has a chance for triple poison damage. It's very important to gain some extra chaos resistance with this weapon. Socket your main totem setup in the Covenant armor, it will cost you life to deploy them. The biggest advantage here is the added chaos damage with a support gem. It's a game changer, a lot of damage. As you gain enough frenzy charges, Snakebite gloves will grant you an extra 60% chance to poison and a lot of accuracy rating, attack speed, and damage over time multiplier, all scaling up with charges. There's also life and evasion here. With Rain of Splinters jewel, your ballistas will fire 2 extra projectiles, massively increasing your damage. It should not be overly expensive. On your Watcher's Eye, look for Grace, Malevolence, or Vitality mods. The best ones are the extra damage over time multiplier from Malevolence and life gain on hit from Vitality. On the rest of your gear seek mostly maximum life, spell suppression chance, resistances, strength, and a bit of intelligence. Evasion and chaos resistance are valuable too. With your rings and amulet, you also want to reduce the mana cost of skills. Caustic arrow has a bit of a low base damage, you might want to increase it by adding chaos or physical damage to your attacks. Get as much maximum life, elemental resistances, and spell suppression on a helmet. After that look for evasion, missing attributes, and the most expensive, mana reservation efficiency. We recommend a Vile arrow quiver for more damage or a penetrating arrow quiver to penetrate the first target, it improves clear speed. Look for added physical, chaos damage, attack speed, and damage over time multiplier. Elemental resistance and life mods are not as important here, there are more valuable affixes to strive for. On your boots focus on movement speed, maximum life, spell suppression chance, and resistances. Onslaught is great to have too, pick one with it if you can afford such a pair. On a belt, aim for as much maximum life and elemental, chaos resistances as you can afford. Some strength will be needed too. After gaining enough life, attributes, and resistances on your amulet, seek added damage, damage over time multiplier, and reduced mana cost of skills. We recommend at least one amethyst ring for the extra chaos resistance. It's very similar to an amulet, but you can also stumble upon Despair Curse on hit, which is not really mandatory, but great if you want to include more skills in the build. You won't have many free jewel sockets, maybe 1 or 2. You can use them for extra life, attributes, poison damage, and chaos resistance. Having 5 magic flasks is the preferable way of gearing up. 1 life flask with instant life recovery on use, Jade flask with a mod for increased evasion, a Quicksilver flask for some extra movement speed, Silver flask for the onslaught buff, Stibnite flask for an increased evasion rating, or a Quartz flask as it grants phasing and spell suppression chance. There are 2 main setups, one on your bow and the other socketed in the body armor. The one in the Covenant is more valuable, so that's where the Ballista Totem one will be located. Link the Caustic Arrow to the Ballista Totem, Greater Volley, Deadly Ailments, Unbound Ailments, and Void Manipulation support gems. If you struggle with socket colors, which is understandable, you can swap Void Manipulation for efficacy. Another blue gem you can use is Concentrated Effect, but it's not recommended due to the AoE reduction. The second setup is exactly the same, but instead of Ballista Totem support, you will use the Mirage Archer here. This attack is to be used to further increase the damage, and it's usually more comfortable to instantly shot at the target followed up by your Mirage, than to deploy totems. Use the anomalous version of the Caustic Arrow in one of these setups to apply a withered debuff on hit. Frenzy is a simple attack that grants you a frenzy charge on hit. It's your main source of frenzy charges. Link it with Hextouch to cause the Despair Curse with every hit. It lowers chaos resistance, increases damage over time, and adds chaos damage to your attacks. To gain these charges more efficiently, link it with greater multiple projectile support. For the auras, use Grace, Malevolence, and Vitality. Grace adds and increases your evasion rating. Malevolence increases skill effect duration and damage over time. Vitality regenerate your life and has some great mods on a Watcher's Eye. It will help you to regenerate life. It's especially useful with Darkscorn and the Covenant during boss fights. Use only the Vol part of Vol Haste to gain more attack speed when it's needed the most. Steelskin is a basic guard spell that prevents incoming hit damage and grants bleeding immunity. It should be triggered automatically via cast when damage taken after receiving damage. It can be leveled all the way up. Flame Dash is a simple movement skill. It can be replaced with Blink Arrow if you prefer it. Enduring Cry grants endurance charges and regenerates a big portion of your life on use. Killing all the bandits is the optimal way to do Aramir's quest. These 2 skill points are very valuable. If the cause of your death is damage over time or chaos damage caused by the abundant arch-nemesis effects, pick Aracali as the major god, but if that's not a big deal, we recommend Soul of Solaris as it's also a great pick. It reduces lots of damage taken. As for a minor god, you have quite a few options. Soul of Rislatha is good if you run out of life flask charges, and it also makes them more efficient. Garukan, Ralakesh, Yugal, and Abarath are suitable too. Pick the one you fancy. Here on the passive skill tree, try to get as many different masteries as you can, keeping of course a reasonable restraint. It's due to the Polymath's keystone from your ascendancy tree. It also encourages the absence of cluster jewels, lowering the overall price of the build. Pick some poison, bow, damage over time, spell suppression, evasion, maximum life, attack totem, frenzy charges, and chaos resistance nodes. These are all located in the down right corner near your starting location. Ghost Dance is great if you have even a small amount of energy shield. Now for the masteries. Resistances and Ailment Protection Mastery for Elemental and Chaos Resistance. Life Mastery for maximum life or vitality reservation efficiency. Poison Mastery for an increased poison duration. Spell Suppression Mastery for extra spell suppression chance. Evasion Mastery for Grace Reservation Efficiency, Bow Mastery for extra accuracy rating per green socket on your bow, or the increased area of effect, Totem Mastery for taunt on summoning, Damage over time Mastery for the 15% increased duration of skill effects and ailments, and Charge Mastery for extra damage per charge. That's around 8 or 9 different ones in total. That's the end of this guide. If you found it helpful, like the video and subscribe. Bye.